Welcome to Awakening Soul Divinity, your sacred space for deep healing and transformation. Listen to inspiring conversations with healing experts, spiritual guides, and teachers as we explore ancient wisdom, modern healing, and powerful stories of change. I'll also share practical insights from my personal journey, from spiritual crisis to inner purpose. Whether you're seeking to overcome anxiety, embrace your true nature, or awaken your higher self, this podcast offers guidance to help you transform your life and elevate collective consciousness.
Hey everyone, I'm Caroline Rena, and welcome to Awakening Soul Divinity. And today I've got such an interesting and beautiful guest, both inside and out, Sharon Smith. Sharon, hi. I am so glad that you are here with me today. Welcome.
Thank you, Caroline. I'm excited about this. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. And this decision to join me on this journey is so important to me because I know you have so much good information and just who you are to share with everyone that I'm just really excited for this conversation. So let's get started. So I believe it's powerful for people to hear how others have overcome challenges and healed and chosen to help other people do the same. Could you briefly share a catalyst or challenging experience that led you to the path that you're on today?
Well, I was always on this path in some way. I'm a psychic medium and clairvoyant in addition to being an intuitive energy healer. But I did not want to be who I was, and I didn't want all that stuff. And I wasn't interested in helping people feel better. My gift was with animals, not humans. I didn't even want to be around humans.
I don't even know if I knew that about you. Okay, animals.
Well, yeah, it's on here. Yeah. But what happened was that I developed really sometimes debilitating hip and back pain, lower back pain in my teens, maybe about 15 or 16. And that continued on and off until 2002-ish or so. In my 20s, I added in chronic migraines just for kicks.
Just for fun. I know what that's like. Okay.
Just for fun. Yeah, absolutely. And in 2002, I had a lot going on in my life. I had two very young children. I had a marriage that was a disaster. We had just built this house. It was so much pressure. And I leaned over to put a cup in the dishwasher and I was unable to straighten back up. Now, I was young, healthy. I had a regular yoga practice. There was nothing wrong with me. Nothing. But that laid me out. And Dr. Frempé, a house call, he said, "Oh, take these pills and just lay around for about a week and you'll be okay. You just have a bad back." And when he said that to me, I thought, no, I don't. I don't think I did have a bad back. Something about it just got my attention. So I took the pills and laid there, and it was truly dark night of the soul for me. I was afraid that I might never be okay again. It was excruciating pain, and I was just in bed for a week. But it did get better. But what happened was that I made the promise to myself that I was going to work out. I was going to figure out what was actually causing this and find a way to fix it. And I also said to God, okay, I give up. You win. I will do or be whatever it is you want me to. Just show me, tell me what you want, because I quit.
Surrender has a way of working through things.
It's like, this was kind of more of an armed truce.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Well,
okay, you win.
Let me ask you, how old were you at that point?
Well, that was 2002. You didn't tell me you're going to ask me to do math on.
We have to do math. You were in your 30s.
No, I wouldn't have been. I'm 60. Okay, this is 2025 March right now when we're recording, and I'm 68. And that was in 2002.
Okay.
So how old did that make me then? I don't know,
I don't,
40s?
what?
Somewhere in my 40s?
25 minus 2002, 300. No, that's not going to work.
It's okay. Don't worry. Many in the audience have already done the math. I'm
58.
old now. I was younger then. I got better.
But here's the thing, and it's proof that you've gotten better though, because look at you. You do not look like you're 68.
Thank you.
But you're also going to tell us why that's the case. So please
Well,
continue.
sure. And anyway, I started looking. I
Mhm.
started reading books, and this was big awakening for me. And for most people, they think, "Oh, awakening, it feels so good." And for me, it was like, "Oh no, this really is gonna suck." And I called up a really good friend of mine who has an incredible healing and alternative arts library, who had been after me to move in this direction for a long time, and I had just really ignored her. And I called her up and I said, "Okay, I'm awake. I need some books." And so she was happy to lend me several things from her library repeatedly. And that was just the start. I began looking, and I had known about EFT
Mhm.
for a couple of years. I used to get a physical mailed newsletter from a man named Gary Craig, who's one of the big founders of EFT.
Okay.
He's a Stanford trained engineer. And I knew about it, and I kind of looked online. I thought, yeah, that tapping stuff is kind of interesting, but I don't know what you'd ever do with it. Didn't it just didn't I thought, okay, whatever. And it wasn't until maybe a year or two later that I went to have a massage. It was a girlfriend of mine. She met me at the door and she went, "Oh my God, you've got to see this list." And I said, "Okay." And we went inside, and what it was a list in the back of a book called Feelings Buried Alive Never Die by Carol Kuhn Truman. In the back of this book is a list of over 200 physical pains and ailments and their probable underlying emotional causes. And my friend Wendy said, "I love this list. I don't know what you'd ever do with it." And the instant I saw it, everything just shifted for me. It was like
Mm.
a cartoon character with the balloon over its head.
Mhm.
This huge amount of stuff just come in as a download. I immediately understood that this was a way of using EFT. I also understood that pain isn't what we thought. It's not here to hurt us. It's a dialogue. It's attempting to have a conversation with us,
Mhm.
to help us and guide us. It's not punishment. And I was enthused. I started tapping that day and I never looked back. Um, I think I was pretty annoying there for quite a period of time, to the extent that my kids, I made everybody tap. One time, my kids, they were still pretty little, and one of my son's friends came over and he was in the kitchen. He said something about his knee hurting, and he's like, "Don't you say that in front of my mom. If she hears you, she'll make me tap."
But what's interesting to me that you brought up, I'm going to interrupt you on this because I feel like this is important. Everything that I've learned about pain through my journey with my shoulder with over the last 8 months, and my shoulder was more of a thing where I had gone through major depression last 2 years ago, and so the feelings piece of this I know that stuff gets locked in. I've read Louise Hay's stuff. I've read all these things
You
about.
want me to just tell you what it is? Would that make it easier right
Well,
now?
no, because I want to share
Okay.
this part and then you can tell me. So what's
Okay.
interesting to me though is I've done EFT and I've done all these things to help with the pain, whether it's my brain saying it or whatever's going on. You'll tell me in a minute. I know. What's interesting to me is that EFT and pain, those two words never came together for me until just now. So that's why I'm excited to bring this into
Yeah.
being, because this is very interesting to me. I'm very analytical and I like to learn new things, but
Okay,
go
good.
right ahead. Tell me
If
why.
I may, let me,
Absolutely.
I want to talk about what tapping is and how
Yeah.
it works, because there are all these explanations out there online, and mine is substantially different than that. And it is based on my ability to see energy moving in the human body. And all of us enjoy saying the word amygdala, that area of your brain. It has been proven that it does have an immediate positive calming effect on the amygdala, which is where the fight or flight response is generated in
Right.
your limbic system, right?
Right.
So EFT is based on acupuncture, which
Mm-hmm.
has been around for thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
We are electrical in nature, and we know this. This electrical charge that flows through our body flows largely along these acupuncture meridians.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And we know that we're electrical. If you've ever had an EKG, you know they're measuring the electrical output of your heart. Electroencephalogram is electric brain activity.
Mm-hmm.
And they use that to determine sometimes whether you're even alive or dead. So, got bangs here. So, so this charge is not only real, it's measurable, and it is used all the time in classic Western medicine.
Mm-hmm.
EFT tapping on some meridian endpoints allows us to physically access our own electrical charge. I believe we're wired just like the motherboard in a computer a little bit.
Yeah.
And we can physically tap on these meridian endpoints and access our own wiring. When we are doing this, we're also talking out loud and directly addressing our own subconscious because you know your own voice.
Mm-hmm.
First, identifying a problem and fleshing it out a little bit, and then we are requesting a change. And in what's happening. Now, sometimes people
Sharon,
say,
excuse me,
yeah,
real quick. Can you give us an idea? Because I had always had I know there's a connection with writing in the brain, and I know there's a connection with talking in the brain. So when you're tapping, like you said, the talking piece of it, when you hear yourself out loud, exactly what is that? Can you give a description to what that is?
it depends on the person and what you have going on. Different areas of your brain
Well,
will
I
like.
don't mean specifically. I don't mean specifically. I'm talking about why is it that talking helps while you're tapping? Why is it that writing helps or
Okay, it's just like bringing up okay, if you want to change a file in a computer, do you just hit it? What button do you hit? You don't. You cannot. You
Mhm.
must first display that file. You have to bring it up. That's what
Mhm.
we're doing when we are speaking. We are
Okay.
bringing that file up and identifying it.
Okay, so it's an identification thing. Got it.
Absolutely. You're determining and outlining what it is that you want to make the change to.
Okay. Okay. All right. Continue.
And sometimes people will say, oh, well, I don't want to say that negative stuff when I tap. I like to stay positive. And it's because no one has explained to them how it works. If
Mhm.
all you're doing is saying positive stuff, you're not going to get change
Mhm.
under there.
Well, it gives you the negative stuff though. Now that you said this ID thing, it's like a lot of the negative stuff that we have is in our subconscious. So until we actually say,
Yeah,
I've been feeling scared about dot 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 dot, whatever that is, you're not going to give your body the opportunity to recognize that when you don't say it. So I feel like is that am I on the right track with that?
a little bit, a
Okay.
little bit. Um, you, a lot of the time, if you're new to tapping and trying to do this on your own, the more specific you can be about it, the better.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
but you can also say things like, I have a lot of fear and I can feel it, and I'm not sure what might be setting it off.
Mm-hmm.
But my subconscious
No,
knows,
right. Yep. Yep.
and I allow my subconscious to bring this up for me.
Mm-hmm.
And you will be surprised I mean, I do this with people all the time, every day. If it's something that they can't get to, I like them to see it for themselves rather than just me saying, well, it's this thing. I mean, yeah, it's a little quicker for me to say, okay, it's this, but I don't usually do that. It is much more
Mm-hmm.
powerful um, for them to see it for themselves.
Right, right. Well, learning works that way. I mean, even in Native
Yeah,
American times, the elders they you ask them a question and they ask you a question back so you can figure it out for yourself. So I feel like it's the same
absolutely.
concept. Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. So if you could finish up with what you were saying about the the meridians and the just finish that piece up.
Well, when classic EFT, classic tapping looks like we usually start out here on the side of the hand. Either hand to
Right,
the side is completely bilateral. You can tap
right.
your hand, and we're identifying a problem, and then we're tapping through some points. Now, I start at the top and just work down. We'll do the eyebrow point,
Mm-hmm.
side your eye, underneath your nose, underneath your lower lip, and then take your whole hand and hit your
You do.
collarbones and
Mm-hmm.
also the area kind of below that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are other points you can tap, you can do under the arm. I
Yeah.
don't like that
Yeah.
on camera as much, so I skip that. If you forget a point, guess what? It's still going to work.
Right, right. Well, and that's the really cool thing because a lot of this stuff that deals with the direct connection with the brain, it works in ways that most of us don't really understand how it's happening. Like I've had EMDR, and I have no idea what the mechanism is. I don't even know if they actually know that, but I could be wrong, but
Kind of.
yeah,
Okay, if I may,
yeah,
makes use of eye movement,
yes,
lateral eye movement
yep,
to heal trauma. And and I learned this from Andrew Huberman, Stanford, Stanford Neuroscience. Your eyes
okay,
are actually the external portion of your brain. That's why
interesting.
that's one of the reasons why this works. And in EFT, some of the original stuff, and I use a lot of different things, but some of the original stuff had a series of eye rolls in it. I've done that in a recent video.
Mm-hmm,
You
mm-hmm.
look up, you look down,
I've
you look,
heard that. Yep.
yeah, and then you roll.
Yeah.
All of these different things. It even involves different areas of the brain where you count and then hum a few bars of music.
Right. That's
These
interesting.
are activating different areas of your brain for different things. Now,
Right.
one of my favorite ways to tap looks like this. It's not tapping through the points. I use this in groups all the time because it's simpler than trying. It's like, where's she tapping? What's she doing?
Hmm.
But you want to ground the technique, put your palms together, and then tap the ends of your fingertips. Do not do this. That's not a proper ground. You're not going to get a very good result. But this works really well. And
I can feel it. I can feel
yeah, you can feel the difference if you try it. You'll feel that it's not the same. And that's an electrical ground. You're creating an
it.
electrical ground in your own physiology. And these meridian endpoints in your fingertips, most of those are connected to your eyes.
This is just, that's the thing. I love this kind of stuff. It just blows me away. I mean, I've been doing research on all kinds of different things, and whenever something pops in, it's like, oh no, here comes another research thing. But I don't need to do research because all I need to do is watch videos or talk to you, apparently. So
Yes.
I think that could work. Um,
And and if I
yeah.
may, we have now talked a whole bunch.
Hmm.
And all of you who are watching this and going, okay, this is interesting. I want to see how this goes. I
Hmm.
want you to actually be in this experience and to feel this experience. So we're going to do some right now.
So, real quick before we move on, I have a question about your personal healing journey related to your experience. I just want you to let people know how that shaped your work that you do now before we actually get into the work that you do.
Um, in beginning to tap with other people and
Mhm.
help other people, I very soon developed a practice because people wanted to pay me. It wasn't something that I had decided I was going to do. It just happened.
Right.
Didn't take very long. And I attended a boot camp, a master's boot camp put on by Gary Craig. It happened to be in a town that was reasonably close to me. And I did this boot camp and got that. You had to apply. You had to have so many practice hours, client hours under your belt. And I didn't think they'd take me, and they did. They said, hey, come on down. But what I learned from that several days thing was that I already was using that tool in a completely different way than anybody in there was using.
Okay.
and that it was in many cases way more effective. I'm not saying anything bad about anybody else's technique,
Well,
but
sure, but
it just, yeah,
yeah,
I just knew I never went back for any more
yeah.
because I was already using it a different way. I could see I had a completely different
Yeah.
that.
Well, that makes a lot of sense because a lot of the things that I have read and understand are that like we will all get, we're all open to the same downloads, the same information from the universe. How we use it is based off of our experience, our perceptions, our, whatever. And just because we're using ours a certain way doesn't mean it's wrong.
Oh
and,
no,
and
it,
it's
it
made
absolutely
for
doesn't.
us. Yeah, it's made
Yeah,
for us to use. So I think
yeah.
it's interesting that how you saw that it was already out. Like I would be blown away. I'd be like, oh yeah, thanks for validating, and I already do that. So I have that
It was
happen all the
okay.
time.
It
So
was okay.
yeah.
I met some cool people there. And it was not very long after that that I began to use my ability because I I wasn't really comfortable with it. I mean, it
Yeah.
took me a while to, it's like, oh, okay, like I can give you a good example. I was doing some work with a nice woman and we'd worked for maybe 15 minutes out of the hour she had and then she's like, okay, well, I feel pretty good. I'm like, I don't think we're done. We've got time left. And she said, well, I don't even know what else to work with. And so I internally said, okay, I need some help here. And then I heard in my head, ask her about her mother.
Mm.
And I said, can you tell me about your mother? Now, I would ask this already now, but back then, and she said, well, she left when I was 6 and I didn't see her again until I graduated from high school. And then she burst into tears. So that
Yeah. Well,
I'm
that's
always there's always help. And I may see something in a person, for
mm.
instance, if they're having pain in an eye, I might see that this is coming from some other part of their physical self.
Or they're okay. So then one of the things I wanted to ask you about was like, because I work with emotions, I was working with emotions as a transformational coach. So how do unprocessed emotions manifest physically, and how can EFT and energy work help to release those things?
Well, energy work is a big, broad thing.
Well,
And
yeah, but
and and I'm going to say I believe pretty much all of it is valid. Some things work faster than others. Some things are
Mhm,
more effective than others for specific things. And so discernment on the part of the consumer is kind of necessary
mhm,
because
mhm.
and energy stuff, energy work is a huge umbrella. You're taking
Right.
into consideration so many things. This brings me back around to the wonderful book, The Body Keeps the Score
Yeah, that one comes up a lot.
by Bessel van der Kolk.
Yeah.
And he was seeing all of these patients of his at the VA who had been
Hmm.
in war situations. He was seeing them have all these terrible, painful health issues as a result of PTSD,
Hmm.
as a result of traumatic experiences.
Right.
He was seeing that every cell in your body was storing that information, that trauma. So obviously, when you are using a mind body tool like EFT or EMDR,
Hmm. Hmm.
you are accessing your energy system and speaking out loud to your own cells in an electrical and verbal way, a magnetic way,
Hmm.
for us to change.
Yeah. Well, I think now's a good time for you to go into that example. You were going to start getting into that because I have a couple of questions that go beyond that. So
Okay.
if you want to do that example, is it on me or are you just sharing information?
No, we're just going to tap.
We're just going to tap. Okay.
Yeah, and let's don't bother tapping through the points. Let's just do this because
Okay.
I'm just appreciating how many of you are out there doing this. Thank you for being here with us today. And just tap your fingers lightly. And I'm going to move mine a little bit out of the way so they're not right here in front of me and I'm looking at you. And now we're going to do some things. This is just some light tapping. We aren't going to go after a real problem, but this is going to make you feel really good. I allow
I allow
the universe to have my back.
the universe to have my back.
I am open and receptive
I am open and receptive
to the power of grace in my life.
to the power of grace in my life.
And I ask to be shown clear examples
And I ask to be shown clear examples
of this energy working in my life today.
of this energy working in my life today.
I love accepting help and support from the universe.
I love accepting help and support from the universe.
I feel so loved and so supported.
I feel so loved and so supported.
I am so grateful
I
for,
am so grateful
for this,
for this,
for my wonderful life
for my wonderful life
in all its crazy gloriousness.
in all its crazy gloriousness.
Okay, now stop tapping. Take a big breath and blow it out. That helps the energy anchor and move through you both. And then just see how you feel in your body. I think you'll feel a little bit calmer, a little more
Mhm.
grounded, a little more relaxed, knowing that you're not really having to do this all on your own.
Right, there's like a wave. That was the first word that that came to me, was a wave of calmness. And then
Mhm.
of course, because I'm an energy practitioner person, I feel my hands are like vibrating right now too.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm getting. But that's, yeah. And that kind of thing is really, really important to keep us centered. And that's the thing that I've been talking about a lot lately, is staying centered within self in connection with the universe and the earth.
Absolutely. And there's so much available to you that you aren't even aware of. And it's and
Yeah.
for free. I have right now, currently on my YouTube channel, I have over 500 videos that are
Wow.
me actually working and doing work with you using a
Mhm.
huge variety of energy techniques for things like knee pain and lower back pain and migraines and acne and depression and anxiety and social anxiety. And a sty in your eye, and hormonal balance,
Oh,
all
yeah.
kinds of stuff.
Yeah. That's
And
interesting.
and these are all, I made them for you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very powerful
Yeah,
work. And, um, of course, being someone who is in that kind of environment energetically, with working on other people and everything, it's like, and it's not just like, if how do I say this? Like, the videos that you have, not only are they helpful on YouTube, but there's a connection, there's a direct connection of energy that's being put out to you as the receiver for the healing to work. You don't have to, it,
no.
you
Yeah,
don't have to be in
it
the
flows
same
through me.
space.
All I do is get
Right.
out of the way.
Right. And you get out of the way, but you don't even have to be in
Yeah,
front of somebody for this. You can be doing it from
absolutely
a
not.
video. And so, I mean, I can
I
feel
see
it.
all of my private clients online. They're all over the
Right.
world.
Right. Well, and
Yeah,
that's, to me, it's because we already have that energy in the meridians within us, and we're all connected. We're all one. So
yeah,
for
we
you
are.
to be in front of me holding hand, or whatever, when I did my work, I did it with in holding hands with people, or I did Reiki style type of thing back in the day. But I can still feel it because you and I are connected by virtue of the ether, or whatever that is, that we are all one. I mean,
Yeah,
there's truth behind that.
yeah, there is.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's, now let me ask you this, like, these pain points that you brought up for the videos that you put out, how do pain and suffering serve as catalysts for deep
Okay.
transformation and remembering who we really are? Because that's a big
Well,
thing for.
yeah. And I need to start at the beginning with this because so many of the patterns that we are carrying as adults stem from childhood experiences and
Absolutely.
from childhood trauma. And it may not even be something that got recognized as trauma.
Mm-hmm.
The feelings of loneliness, abandonment, actual awful stuff. And when that happens to you as a child, your brain is functioning at a slower frequency, a lower
Mhm.
brain, you're in a lower brain state until about the age of 7 or 8. You're almost in a hypnotic state.
Right.
So when the ones that are supposed to love and protect you don't or aren't, the first thing you think as a kid is, well, it's my fault. There's some
Mhm.
reason that they don't love me.
Mhm.
I did something wrong, or there's something wrong with me. And so your brain takes that in. And when this continues over a period of time, this is how these patterns, especially for relationships, you know how you have that relationship over and over and over again, that same one?
No, I
This
don't
is,
know that.
yeah. Well, this stay with me here a second because
Okay.
this is why it's happening.
Oh, yay.
So over time, that feeling unloved and feeling abandoned, whatever it is you've got, your brain does this thing. Your brain's primary function is to keep you safe in your body. That's
Mhm.
its main function. And it takes in that experience and goes, yeah, okay, this feels awful to feel lonely and unloved and abandoned, but we don't die of it. So it becomes a survivable event.
Mhm.
Over a very short period of time, it becomes a part of your comfort zone, your pattern. This is subconscious. You aren't doing this on purpose. I
Right.
promise. It is deeply buried in your survival part of your brain, in your limbic system.
Mhm.
So when you get older and you get in a situation where you're maybe in a relationship where you feel really loved and you feel safe and it's feeling really good, your primitive brain is triggered by this in a very short period of time. And it goes, wait a minute, this is completely uncharted territory. It's potentially life-threateningly dangerous.
Yep.
We got to put a stop to this.
Yep.
And that person or that situation will change because you require it to. It has to happen so that you can keep yourself safe.
Well, it's also a set point too. The spot where your brain feels like you're supposed to be in because of the experience that protects you is a set point. It's like people who win the lottery have a set point. They make $1,000 a month, and when they win the lottery, within a couple of years, it's all back to $1,000 a month or whatever. Isn't
Only
it the
sort
same
of, only sort of. It is much deeper than just a set point.
Okay.
If you win $1 billion and you're used to making $1,000 a month, your brain is going to be triggered by that.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, you're not going to fit in with your family, with your friends who make $1,000 a month. Your
Right.
primitive brain is very much tribal in its wiring. And if you didn't fit in ancient times, you would be kicked out of the tribe.
So I
And
see
that
that. Yeah.
would frequently be a death sentence for you.
Mm.
So when you all of a sudden win all this money and you don't fit in with your tribe, you got to get rid of it in order to keep yourself alive. This is a very, very much primitive hardwired brain response. It's not just a set point.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I kind of related the how you were explaining the situation as a child, where you go back to that, like you're always going back to the original whatever it is.
Right,
And if you don't
right.
know it, that's when I said set point, that felt like the same type of thing. If that
Loosely.
makes sense. Yeah. I mean, that's where I was coming up. But that's okay.
Right,
We're here.
right. But the way to help to resolve that type of pattern is actually not tapping. It is to go back. It's a process that belongs to me. It's called Safe, Secure, and Loved. And we go back and find those childhood versions of you who first felt that way and give them what they needed that they didn't get,
Yeah.
and then give them a safe place to go.
Yeah.
That is because they're alive and well. All those scared kids are alive and well in you right now. They're calling the shots in your daily life. They're in your money. They're in your relationships. They're in every aspect of your life.
Oh, heck yeah. I had a 10-year-old running my life for a long time.
Yeah,
I
it
get
can
it. I
certainly be
get it.
that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, normally, because I'm an empath and a highly sensitive person, I had another question about that specifically with people like me, us, empaths and highly sensitive people. Do you have strategies or practical tools for managing energy, setting boundaries, and thriving in this, overwhelming world in dealing, because you've got so much, you do so much. And it's like for able to be who we were meant to be on this planet, I feel like people need strategies to understand how all this can help them get
Well,
through.
I have something a bit more than a strategy. I created a tool for it.
Okay.
Right now, I don't have it available to the public, to the general public right now, but it's called the Empathic Management Toolkit. And
Okay.
one of the videos in that has me take you through a download to actually install in you a tool that helps you immediately identify whether what you're feeling, because sometimes you walk in a room, you can't even tell whether it's their feelings or your own. I mean,
Yeah.
it's poorly managed empathic ability can be a train wreck. Trust
Hmm.
me, I know. But this tool gives you the ability to immediately see whether it's yours or not yours
Interesting.
and to dial that down.
Okay. Okay. So when do you think when do you think that'll be out? Because I'm
I
curious.
don't, I have, it's been around a long time. I have simply used it with private clients.
Okay.
So I don't know, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
The work is created. It's there. I just haven't made it available for sale yet.
Got it. Okay. Okay. All right.
This
Well,
is probably the year, so watch for
this
it.
has to be because we're talking about it right now on here.
Yeah.
This is it. It's time. So with everything that we've talked about with how you got here and the kind of work you do and uh, the kind of things that you help other people with, your YouTube channel, all these different things, I'm curious, what is it that we can do to try and work on my shoulder? Because I've been working on this thing for a while now. It's been about 8 months, and I am a veteran, so I've been doing it at the VA. So I know all about the the pain points that Dr. Bessel Vanderkook talked about in his book that you had mentioned. The body keeps the score. So I understand all of this stuff. For whatever reason, the things that I have been doing have not been working, and I kind of know what it is, but it hasn't gone away yet. So let's see what we can do here. I'm curious.
Okay. All right. Well, the first thing I want you to do is move that shoulder and measure the pain and give it a number between 0 and 10, with 10 being agony and 0 being no pain at all of any kind. And
Well,
how, yeah.
yeah, this kind of movement is a 0. It's this. This is
Oh, okay.
the 8. Yeah, the 8 to
Okay.
10, and it refers all the way up to my neck,
Okay.
to my head.
Okay. So when did this start?
The actual, I feel like it's an injury. So it was at the gym, and we were doing kettlebells, and I was doing the lifting, and that's where I felt it was an injury to my arm, because I don't think I trained it right.
Okay.
I was
So
jumping
during
in
that time, you were almost homeless and there was a lot of personal stress,
oh,
personal and
yeah,
professional
a
probably.
lot of things going on. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And this was going on probably for, a pretty extended time before that.
Yeah, pretty extended.
You've had that going on. All
Yeah.
right. Um, to start with,
Okay.
and let's just start off. I have a lot of pain in my shoulder when I move my arm,
I have a lot of pain in my shoulder when I move my arm.
and I had a lot of pain in my life when this happened,
And I had a lot of pain in my life when this happened,
an overwhelming amount of things.
an overwhelming amount of things.
And I choose to be okay anyway.
And I choose to be okay anyway.
I had so much awful stuff happening in my life then
I had so much awful stuff happening in my life then
that I couldn't process it.
that I couldn't process it.
I didn't feel like I could even really speak up about it.
I didn't really feel like I could even speak up about it.
And so I didn't.
And so I didn't.
And I wonder if it's possible
And I wonder if it's possible
that that got stuck in my shoulder.
that got stuck in my shoulder.
And I think I had an accident.
And I think I had an accident.
But gosh, that's pretty convenient timing.
Gosh, that's pretty convenient timing.
I wonder if I could love and accept all of the parts of me
I wonder if I could love and accept all of the parts of me
that felt so overwhelmed
that felt so overwhelmed
and that were in so much pain.
and that were in so much pain.
It's safe for me to allow my shoulder to heal.
It's safe for me to allow my shoulder to heal.
It's safe for me to hear what my shoulder is saying to me.
It's safe for me to hear what my shoulder is saying to me.
It's safe for me to use my voice in the world.
It's safe for me to use my voice in the world.
It's safe for me to let go of carrying stuff that doesn't belong to me.
It's safe for me to let go of carrying stuff that doesn't belong to me
Because I do completely love and accept myself.
because I completely love and accept myself.
And I love my shoulder.
And I love my shoulder.
Okay, stop. Take a breath. Move.
A little better, but I I've been protecting myself a lot my whole life. So
Okay, that's a lot larger range of motion.
than I did a minute ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And where's your level? You were at an 8. What is it now?
Probably about a 5 or 6.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
that's a good 25% drop in about 60 seconds.
Yeah,
That's about what we did. So,
yeah.
and we can go deeper into that, which will require you to actually talk about some things that you might be unwilling to talk about on a podcast.
One thing that you learned on your journey that you wish you would have known earlier.
Oh gosh, that it's safe to just relax and be who you are. Stop needing. It's safe. Allow yourself to be safe, not needing pain to push you forward.
Yeah. And we all get so stuck in that. It's crazy. And then our bodies get stuck, literally
Right.
contracted, stuck in all that stuff. And it's so challenging.
I want to tell people,
Hard work.
love yourself.
Yeah.
All of the work that I do is to help you love yourself more. Love
Yeah.
yourself more.
Yeah. Yeah.
I made a video right before this interview today about words and how powerful they are. And how do you talk to yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Because I recently had someone write to me and they say, "Oh, I'm ready to chase my dreams. I want to chase my dreams." No, stop saying it that way.
Because you're
What you are
chasing it.
what you're asking for is chasing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not asking for living in, enjoying, having
Yeah.
in your you're
You're
asking
asking to chase them. Yep. Yeah. It took me a long time to understand that. And I still, go fall back into that every now and then. I think
Everybody
we all,
does.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah. But
normal.
it is interesting how we're trained to use these words, and they're not helpful at all.
Nope. Nope. When someone comes to me and they're talking about, for instance, my shoulder pain and saying my
It's
shoulder
not
pain.
mine.
Yeah, if
You're
they're
taking ownership.
right, they're making that a part of their actual identity. But
Right.
that you can say the pain in my shoulder. That
Yeah.
is much different energy than my shoulder pain.
Did I say my shoulder pain?
I honestly don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
No. It's okay. We'll figure it out. Okay. So I'm also curious in the big picture, how do you see individual healing work contributing to a larger societal transformation?
Well, that's what I do on my channel. I am inspiring awakening
Mm,
by easing pain. That's what I'm doing.
that cool. Very cool, because that's going to lead into my next question. Because you use the right word, the key word. How do you personally define awakening in the context of what's happening on the planet right now?
It doesn't matter what the context is, that doesn't change.
Mhm.
Awakening is becoming aware of yourself as a powerful eternal being, aware of yourself as not being just this body or just this mind, but
Mhm.
so much more,
Mm.
the larger thing. And it doesn't matter what's happening. It doesn't
Well,
matter what's happening anywhere. That
yeah.
awareness, that connection with yourself causes a lot of those things to become irrelevant. And if enough of us are doing that and being in that awareness, everything
Hmm.
changes. Everything
Yeah,
changes.
that's the key. I feel like, in watching other podcasts and watching what's going on in the world and everything, there's a lot of people out there who feel like that is what's causing them to not be able to do what you just said. And I know that's not true, but it's like sometimes it blocks people from doing the healing work because it's so scary, but they don't recognize that this is actually what's causing that. It's not the other
Well,
way around.
yeah, it's your perception of it.
Yeah,
Something that causes you to have a stress response might not do anything to another person.
exactly. Yep. Yeah.
They're like, "What do you mean?" And you're going, "Ah."
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everybody's individual.
Right.
Meet yourself where you are. And
Hmm.
and this is a big thing that I recommend to everybody. I say it often. Stop watching the news. It is specifically designed to cause you to feel fear because
We,
fear
yeah,
is addictive. We
yeah.
have a
Well,
thing in our brain called negativity bias. We are
mm-hmm.
always searching for things to be afraid of to keep us safe and in our bodies.
How else could we be controlled? Just a
Well,
curious
we
question.
allow it. I mean, if you're engaging with things that are deliberately, if it's, it's deliberately created to move you into feeling afraid, how much of your time you really want to spend on that?
Well, that to me, that's an awakened person who has the awareness of that. There's so many people that I don't feel like they're aware that that's happening, and they're just they're in
They're
the
not aware of
matrix.
it.
They're
Yeah.
in the matrix, whatever that is. So they don't even know that this is going on.
And
So
it's okay.
it's
Everybody,
all okay. Yeah,
same direction.
right.
It doesn't matter.
It's happening.
If they aren't going to come to it now, they will come to it later.
Right, exactly. It's not a forced thing. It's
There's
a
no
it's an
rush.
ongoing thing. There is no rush. Time is not linear. It's all over. It's life. It's not
It
keeping us
is.
in
My
this.
job is to love all of this.
Yeah, yeah,
It's such
exactly.
a miracle that we're living in. A
Yes.
miracle.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in that miracle, then, how do you perceive soul divinity, and what does that mean to you?
All humans carry the spark of divine love within us. There is actually no separation
Yes. Yeah.
any more than there's separation from your body and your mind. People used to say, "How do you feel about the mind-body connection?" And I go, "Well, it's complete."
It's a thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
So just becoming aware of yourself as, again, a divine being, as a powerful, eternal being,
Hmm.
and choosing to act like it.
Well, there it is. And we're human. Yay. That's a part of
We
it.
are,
That's
and we
all
will
part.
forget, and we will need to remind ourselves over and over and over again. The
Yep.
important thing is don't be mean to yourself.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
say bad, mean things to yourself when you forget.
Right.
I liken this to housebreaking a puppy. You don't, and when the puppy gets off the newspaper, you don't scream at it and hit it. That's not
Right.
useful. You pick it up, you tell it it's such a good puppy and this is where you want it to be, and that it's such a good dog, and how much you love it, and you're so proud of it, and it can do it. That's
Yeah.
what you want to do with yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And if it never happened for you when you were a child, not exactly peeing on a pad, but if it never happened for you as a child, now you get to be the parent that you never had and do
Right.
that same thing for yourself. I think that's a
Absolutely.
key in there.
It's
Yeah.
never too late to love yourself.
No, no. I think the overreaching idea behind all of this is self-love with the connection, obviously, to a higher power, or whatever you believe in, and the Mother Earth, being connected with the earth and everyone else. So, in that, how do you understand or experience the concept of the divine source or God?
God is everywhere and
Mm.
in everything. To experience taking a breath is to experience God.
Mm.
I don't know if that's going to be a very satisfactory answer.
I'm not looking for a satisfactory answer. I'm looking for your answer.
That,
that's
that
why,
is that
yeah,
is my answer. To
because
open
that's
my
how
eyes,
you,
see, and to take a breath is
yeah.
an experience of divine love.
Yeah, yeah. That's how you experience it. That's how you
Mhm.
share it. And, I mean, there's going to be a million people with a million different answers to this. That's
Yeah.
just, it's all yours, and I just love hearing what everybody has to say about that. Okay, so this is a big one for me, and I'm really interested in hearing what your understanding or your knowledge is on this one. Um, because there's a lot of this coming up. I hear it a lot online. What are your thoughts on the divine feminine, and how do you believe its energy will support us in the future, especially in relation to the divine masculine?
Well, there cannot be one without the other.
Mm. Hello.
There, there is no separation in that duality. We keep thinking of it as something over here and something else over there, and it isn't. These are
Hmm.
simply two sides of the same thing.
Yes.
They are existing currently inside every single human being, whether you are male, female, or anything in between, anything else. You have those inside of you. In the same way that we are dual in nature, we are electromagnetic.
Hmm.
Thoughts are the electrical charge. Emotions are the magnetic charge drawing toward you or pushing away from you. That male female energy, that push pull, is in everything.
Hmm. Hmm. Is
It
it the
is,
same as the yang or yang, however you pronounce it?
yeah, it is.
Like,
What
yeah.
it is the stimulation toward life.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. That's beautiful. Well, I think
Sometimes I say it really well.
I know. I
I
hear
thought that
you.
went,
So
I thought I said
where'd
that
that
pretty
come
good.
from? That was amazing. If you could offer one piece of advice to someone just starting their healing journey, what would it be?
Well, it's very difficult to love yourself.
Mm.
A lot of people struggle with that. And I was no different. And I would begin, honestly, I'm just going to say this in all humility, go to my channel and begin. I have video content on there and I give you three things that you can do that will change your entire life. And that would be journaling
Hmm.
every day,
Hmm.
minutes a day. And that
Yep.
would meditating 20
Yep.
minutes a day,
Yep.
no matter what. I don't ever not meditate. And tapping every day. It'll take you about 45 minutes to do all three of those things in the right amount of time.
Hmm.
But if you do those three things a day consistently for about 90 days, you will look up and you will find yourself living in a whole new life. I
Yeah.
promise. I mean,
No,
that's
I
the way it
know. I
works.
know.
You will have changed yourself. And
Yeah.
there are wonderful zillions of amounts of tapping videos out there, not just mine,
Right.
literally hundreds of thousands of them
Yeah,
out there.
lots of them. There's a
Yeah.
ton. Yep.
Find
Yep.
something, but I am always working with the emotional things that are moving underneath whatever the pain you're experiencing is. And it may be emotional pain, but it can also be physical pain. We're always dealing with the emotions.
Hmm. Yeah, and that's huge. That's huge.
Mhm.
So, how can now that you've explained what about your YouTube channel, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, it below every video, when you click show more, there's all of my stuff is there. Everything is there. If you're interested in looking at maybe working privately, there's a link you can click to go learn more about that. Everything is there. Everything
What's your
is right there.
what's your YouTube channel called?
It is called a pain plan.
Okay. And this information will be in the description below.
Yeah, there'll be
You'll
some
link over
clickable
there.
links for you.
Yeah.
And you want to, if you're not sure what's really underneath your pain or problem, like
Hmm.
your shoulder maybe, you want my free gift and it's called Stop the Pain. And I sent the link over for that too.
Okay.
When you sign up for that, and yeah, I'm not going to email you a bunch of stuff. Just you're going to get those videos, two videos. The first one takes you through a visualization to see what's really underneath that for you. And the second one teaches you a little bit about how to use some tapping to work with what you just saw in the first video. And
Mhm.
here, I gotta tell you, a few years ago, I was in a business and marketing group, and they were going, oh, we need a new freebie for this, and it's not juicy enough. And I'm thinking, well, maybe I need to change mine. And one of the guys on this Zoom call said, well, what is yours? And I said, well, it's called Stop the Pain. And I described what it does. And he said, I don't think I'd change that. He said,
Yeah.
that sounds pretty good to me. I'm probably going to go get it. And I thought, well, okay. I kind of need a sign. The next morning, I went to Facebook and a woman had posted in my private group there, come join my group. Her name was Lynn Pinto. And she had posted that she had healed completely a long serious thing with Achilles pain tendonitis just from my free gift. That was like the next morning.
Wow.
And she had no more pain just from seeing what it really was. She immediately saw the situation. She did some tapping and it was gone. She couldn't
Yeah.
believe it.
That's incredible. Because here's the thing for me, the challenge that I've always had was it's like ask your body why the pain is there, or talk to your body and find out why the emotion is there and all this stuff. So for years, I had been doing this. Well, why are you there? Silence. Why are you there? Silence. No answers. But this feels like it's such a connection with the mind body.
Yeah.
Did I say that out loud? Yeah. It's such a connection that it brings the two together. When you ask from the mind to the body, it feels like there's a disconnect there because there never was an answer ever
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
So I think this is very powerful, this huge, powerful work. And having spoken to you even offline a few times and getting to know you and who you are, and it's like there's definitely something here. So for all my listeners or viewers out there, I think that this is something. I mean, Sharon's got this energy to me that is so loving and so kind and so healing, that just her presence, I think that's what energy she's putting out there. So that's all part of the healing work that you receive when
It actually is.
yeah. And I can feel that. I felt that when I first met you. So
When people feel bad because they can't help themselves, I want them to relax and understand that we are human and we are specifically designed to need each other. We
yeah.
need each other as reflections because we're not able to see ourselves clearly. We need each other as reflections and we need each other's help
Yeah.
because it's the way we're made and it's the coolest thing in the world.
And you can't do it all by yourself. It's just
Not
doesn't work
supposed
that way.
to. Not
Not
supposed
supposed
to.
to. Right. Right. Yeah. All right. Well, is there anything else that you want to share before we wrap up?
Oh gosh, nothing I can think of just offhand. There's so much, so much.
Yeah.
Invite me back again another time and we'll do something else.
Okay. I can do that. I can do that.
Love that.
All right. Thank you, Sharon. I appreciate you. And thank you, everyone, for being here on Awakening Soul Divinity. And we look
So much love for all of you.
Yes, absolutely. And we look forward to seeing you on the next go round. All right. Take care. Bye.